All right, hello again, everybody. Our next presenter is a return visitor to the CRX Chat stage. This is Mr. Callum May. Callum is a journalist and video creator best known for the YouTube channel The Canipa Effect, and his videos and writing are dedicated to exploring further into the anime industry. His topic for today's CRX Chat is Anime, the Global Medium. This is Callum May.
Hello, how's it going? I think I said the exact same thing yesterday and nobody responded, so that was actually a surprise. So, I'm not sure how many are aware of me, but I made a video recently called exactly this, Anime, the Global Medium. And the idea of it was to explore anime not just as a Japanese product, but as something that the entire world both consumes and can come and create themselves. Simply, for example, with One Punch Man, one of the key cuts was animated by Bahi JD, an Austrian animator who traveled to Japan, and I believe he now lives there. And across Delta, the world was actually designed by a French artist called Thomas Roman. Equally, I made the argument that anime inspires world animation, and that the distinction that we make between American animation and anime is perhaps not as clear as we once thought. For example, on the left, it's Castlevania, and it's made by the Skullgirls developers, but Indivisible, that's it, absolutely. Both products have heavy inspirations from Japanese anime. The director of Netflix's Castlevania series was very open about his 90s OVA inspirations with Berserk and shows like that. Whilst Indivisible, even the opening to it is animated by Trigger because they managed to inspire Japanese developers with their very anime-esque character designs. But for this talk, I don't want to recap the video that I made. Instead, I want to kind of provide evidence of anime as a global medium using this season of anime alone, and then next season as well, as far as we know. So the first one, and perhaps one of the most prevalent examples, is Children of Ether, which was released at the start of this season. It's produced at Yapako Animation. It's a French studio in Japan, so many of the artists that work there are French who have experience working within the Japanese animation industry. It was directed by LaShawn Thomas, who you may know from The Boondocks, and also he works on Cannon Buster, which is now getting a Netflix series. Equally, Maiden Abyss, probably one of my favorite shows this season. The composer is from my home country of Australia. Part of what bringing foreign staff in means is that the pool of anime composers in Japan is limited. So you see a lot of the return names. You see Gundam Build Fighters, My Hero Academia, Classroom Crisis, Haikyuu, all of them are composed by the same guy. But by bringing in foreign composers to work with these sort of shows, you get more variety and you get more backgrounds to explore. So Kevin Penkin, who also works on Norn 9 and Under the Dog, which was a Kickstarter project a couple years ago, is an absolutely stunning addition to Maiden Abyss. The Reflection is probably, along with Children of Ether, one of the most obvious examples, since the executive producer is Stan Lee of Marvel fame. But also as a part of that, when they announced the project, they also announced that English musician who has a CBE, which is kind of like an Order of the British Empire, and awards you get from the Crown, Trevor Horn works on the music. So once again, it's a case of bringing in foreign musicians to work on Japanese shows. I think the same thing happened for the Asterisk War, where they brought in a foreign electronic musician. Centaur's Life is an example of some of the Chinese influence in anime. If you're trying to explore further into the industry, then you may hear a lot about a company called Howliners. They are a Chinese company, and they have their own animation studio, and they own some Japanese animation companies. In this case, it's Emon Animation Company. And although it's funded by Chinese companies. It uses Japanese staff, just with Chinese producers. And you can, with the expansion of the Chinese market with anime, you may have heard about, I think it was some extraordinary number for ReZero on Bilibili, and the streaming market in China is really, really doing great things for the anime industry, and you can see that there will be a lot of Chinese companies wanting to get in on that. I think last year, To Be Hero was a Chinese animation project produced and aired for Japan. So even Chinese animators are wanting to become a part of what is Japanese anime. 18if is one of the most overlooked shows this season. Hardly anyone's watching it, and people, if you only watch the first episode and judge it based on that, then you don't really get the full picture, because it's a show that is made with a different director, different character designers, different animation team, made with different ideas every single time. It goes through dream worlds. And episode 7 was really interesting. It's a 3D animation with character designs by an Indonesian character designer who also worked on Zelda Breath of the Wild. And Rianti Wong did the character designs for this episode, which is perhaps one of the most stunning from 18if, and it's one that definitely shouldn't be overlooked. So if you do get the chance, please watch 18if. It's on Crunchyroll.com. I'm on the stage. Pardon? No, I just thought I'd throw that in. And those are just some of the shows that have very significant foreign influence. But so we can't be sure how many shows will have foreign anime staff for fall 2017. But here are just 3 examples that we know of already. With Ancient Magus' Bride, that was the president of which studio, George Wada, is very, very, very open about wanting Americans to be very involved with his projects, especially as fans. So he constantly will visit American cons and really talk up his projects. Attack on Titan was one that he was very enthusiastic about getting American audiences to be a part of. And they aired Ancient Magus' Bride, their next project, well before the airing date at Anime Expo, I believe. Urahara, you may have seen some of the staff walking around. This is a Crunchyroll collaboration with Bilibili, a Chinese company. So it's US and China working together to fund a Japanese production. It's also based on a webcomic by Patrick Macias, who is I think he's editor-in-chief of Otaku USA and editor-in-chief of Crunchyroll Features. So technically he's my boss when I write for Crunchyroll. Godzilla is the next project by Polygon Pictures. This one's actually a film. Ever since Blame, which was released earlier this year, they have implemented a new software called Maneki, which is a 3D plugin sort of software that it means you don't need to do the compositing afterwards. You can do absolutely everything within this software, and then in the end you come out with the finished product. It's something that is made specifically for anime-style 3D productions. And it's created by Polygon Pictures' like kind of research studio, and their entire purpose is to create new software and new ways to create anime-style productions as a part of their attempts to branch into the Japanese market, since they previously were famous for American shows. And the head of this team is actually Italian, who I believe he works in Hong Kong for a while. And that's a big part of Polygon's philosophy, that they don't just want to get Japanese anime staff who work with 3D. They want to open it up to everyone. So even people who don't even live in Japan, as long as you can speak either English or Japanese, and you can actually work remotely producing for their shows. And so that is the end of my talk. There will be more examples of shows produced next season with more foreign anime staff. And I hope you can appreciate anime as not just something Japanese, but as something that more and more people from outside of Japan are becoming a part of. Thank you.